everyone, and welcome to this short film Q&A for Encounters Documentary Film Festival for 2021. My name is Hannah Fleisch, and I'm an intern with the Encounters Festival. I'm joined today with Jack Markowitz, the director of the short film Leviticus 1934. Jack Markowitz is a director, editor, and maker of pictures based in Johannesburg. Born in 1999, he has been directing internationally acclaimed short films and documentaries since the age of 15. His short films, I'm Not Here in 2015, Hip Hop Star 37 in 2016, and Men Online in 2018 have all screened internationally, including in a short film competition at the Seattle International Film Festival. Jack sees filmmaking as a vehicle to explore his interest in land, wealth, and gentrification in contemporary South Africa. His short film, Leviticus 1934, screening at this year's Encounters Festival, reveals the city through the musings, interactions, and explorations of a friendly stranger. The film interestingly captures a very intimate and complex number of interactions, and I'm really excited to speak to the director today about it. Jack, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Hannah. It's nice to meet you, and yeah, I'm excited.
Great. So you've been making films from a very young age. Just before getting into Leviticus 1934 specifically, I was wondering if you could give us a little bit more insight about your interests in film, where they come from, and if they've evolved since you started.
Yeah, I think I was like a little kid and I watched City of God on a DVD. I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and I probably shouldn't have watched that movie that young, but I remember like completely going, what is this? This is so weird. Because that film is very energetic and tactile, and I just started going like, oh, you can do this with films. I just felt like I was there in Brazil. And then I think like, as I got older and older, I always was so interested in the country I lived in and this place, and I just wanted to make films about this place. So then when I was like 13, I had my bar mitzvah, and I just took all the money that all the Jewish aunts and uncles gave me, and I spent it on camera equipment. And then from then I just like on the weekends wanted to make movies with my friends, and then most of them were terrible. And then through that, I just started learning and finding my voice and finding what I was interested in. And then when I was about 15, 16, I started sending it to festivals, and yeah, it kind of just started like that. Yeah.
Great. Are there any other films that kind of became important to your filmmaking over the years?
Yeah, definitely. There's like so many to begin with. I think for me right now, where I'm at right now, I'm obsessed with the movie La Haine. Like I watch that movie maybe every 2 weeks because it just gives me this feeling of being young, and I'm very much in that right now. And yeah, I think like even when I watched Taxi Driver, I think I was like 11 or 12. That was like such a radical experience. And then, yeah, like all of Errol Morris's films. I mean, I was just lucky enough to grow up in a home and in a world where people were telling me what to consume from a really young age. So I was just obsessed with watching documentaries and films when I was like a kid. And that just made me hungry to make, because I didn't want to just be this consumer. I didn't want to just have opinions. I wanted to use a camera and express my curiosity about the world, and Encounters has definitely been a part of that. You know, you get to watch all these in a lot of the time obscure films from parts of the world that you like don't know much about. So I actually remember this film from the Czech Republic called The Great Night that screened in Encounters maybe 6 or 7 years ago, which was a huge inspiration for this short, because it was just this person walking around Prague with their DSLR, like meeting strangers and following them into the night. And I think like, yeah, just having a perspective into non-mainstream cinema really excited me and made me think, oh, I can do this as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Getting into the specific subject matter of this film, how did you get to know the main subject of the film and start to shape his story as it came out?
So John Elvis, he goes by JJ. So I was walking around Bez Valley with my friend, and I was just looking. I was super interested in like trap houses and reclaimed inner city land. So just how people were adapting like abandoned suburban homes and turning them into like new spaces. And there was this really interesting manor on Fifth Avenue in Bez Valley. And my friend was like, oh yeah, there's these guys living here. Let's just go and chill with them. So we went inside and we sat with them for a couple of hours, and JJ was there, and I was just very drawn to his energy, and we kind of got along. And then I kind of left and I, went on with my life. And then one day I kind of just woke up and I was like, I wonder what's going on there today. So I walked from my place in Troyville to Bez Valley, and it was just him in the house. And we sat together that day and we just started talking about the history of the area, him coming down to South Africa, all these, just our journeys, how we came together. And then after that day, I just started going there every single day without a camera for about a month. I just kept going and going and going and chilling with him. And we would walk around together and see crazy things. Like he's just one of those guys. He knows how to spark something in other people. He gets something going. And then, yeah, I kind of started filming a month in. And by the time we started filming, he had moved out of that spot. I wanted to make a film about the house he was living in, but then I kind of was so drawn to him. We just started walking around Yeovil and stuff, and experiencing Yeovil through him, because he knows so many people. Like, and that's kind of what the film is it's about this affiliation immigrants or kind of outcasted people have with each other, where it's like your loneliness can never linger too long because there's always other people around to like touch base with. And I think through that I learned a lot about like, the alienation that I grew up in suburbia, and the comfort of upper middle class life is actually very detached when this guy is surrounded by people constantly looking out for him in a weird way. So I think like, I don't know. We just lived together. He moved into my place and we just lived in the same room and woke up every morning. And some days, even weeks, we just wouldn't film. We would just like live and cook and talk and walk. And that was our life. And then when we did have the camera, there would be interactions that would happen and we would just go with it. So I didn't really think of shaping a narrative. I was just like following what the world gave us. I think the world, specifically in where I live here in the inner city, like it just throws so much at you, and it's not that deep. You can't take it so deeply. It's just like there are interactions and experiences and things you witness, and you're like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. And you kind of just have to adjust your frequencies and move with that. And I think that was the film. It wasn't this thing of, okay, today we got to go out and get this and get this. It was just, let's see what comes to us. Yeah.
Was that kind of filmmaking style different from a lot of your other films? How was the experience of making this teachable, insightful? What did you learn?
I think when I make documentaries, that's the only way I kind of know how to. I think I respect that there's so many ways to make films, but I think when I'm telling someone else's story, and in many ways, their story is all they have, it's their main power in our relationship. It would feel immoral and strange to go, okay, well, this is your story. This is what you have to do today to fit into what I want for my film. And in many ways, that artifice, I feel, is present on the screen. So I'm just constantly running away from that at all times. Like I'm constantly afraid of my film seeming planned or put together. I always wanted to feel like it was just unfolding like that randomly, or just it came together like that because the world is existing like that. And yeah, I think like when I work on narrative stuff, it's obviously really different, but that's like a whole other muscle. I think this muscle is about instinct. It's about being receptive. It's about being non-judgmental. It's about existing in a space and accepting what you know about how you grew up is not the way you can't project that onto other people. And that's kind of, I just love that. I love making films like that. Yeah.
That's brilliant. In terms of the film's relationship to both the space in the city and to religious imagery and allusions, in terms of the title and the significance of the synagogue in Yeovil, Could you speak about more why these became focuses for you?
It was kind of what JJ and I connected on that first time when I went back to his place. It was this idea that he was like, oh, he could immediately tell I was kind of, he said, oh, you're Jewish, right? Yeah, because I'm sure your grandfather lived in this house, like that idea, which was like, this first generation experience is mainly being experienced by African migrants in the inner city. But like, this is a universal experience that's been happening for decades, and that these migration patterns are exactly how they were in the 1950s for like a Lithuanian immigrant. And I think when we started talking about that, we started realizing like, this is the same experience, this is the same thing, and making this film is a way of preserving that energy and saying that's still alive, that feeling of having to build something for, not for you now, but for your kids and for your grandkids, right? And like what that entails, which means you'll do any job. And I think like what came about from that is this connection around the Old Testament, like, because I went to a school where they, amongst all the indoctrination that they pushed into me about Israel and Zionism and the propaganda they pushed, the one thing I did value in going to that school was the Old Testament and the Torah, because this becomes a shorthand when I'm meeting a guy from Nigeria who, he's lived in the city for 10 years, and our interaction, like, what do we have to connect on? We have verses from the Old Testament, and like, it becomes this other thing where in a way there is a mythology to the power of these words, because not because, oh, it's doctrine and it happened and we were all in Egypt. It's because we all grew up being taught these stories. So when you both know a story, you connect with each other on that. And I think through that verse in Leviticus was an encapsulation of what mine and JJ's connection was. We saw each other as strangers. We're from different worlds. We're from different class positions, but like, none of that mattered because we felt there was this similar desire, this similar thing to say. And that just, it means a lot to me. And that's kind of why I wanted to include all the religious, I wanted to capture that about our relationship. Yeah.
Completely. Well, this is such an exciting film. I want to know a little bit more about where you're going to go from here. What are some of your future plans?
Well, at the moment, I live in a neighborhood called Bertram's. I've been living here for a few months now, and this kind of film was actually birthed out of an initial project, which I call it Lani, which is about my time living in Bertram's. I've been making a photo book about me moving into Bertram's, and I've been making portraits and living with a family in Bertram's, and that's kind of like what my whole year is dedicated to, is making a photo book about this this neighborhood, which is experiencing this encroaching gentrification, but the people and the energy is timeless. It doesn't exist in the 21st century. It doesn't exist in any century. It's just something else. So I think like I've been just making black and white medium format pictures of people, and I don't really do it because of the pictures. I just do it because I'm learning a lot about people and myself. So that's kind of like, through doing that, a lot of people got to know me around this area, and then I met JJ, and then that's like, this film was birthed out of that. So that's kind of my larger focus for the year. It's a very long-term project, and hopefully I'll have like a photo book to put out at the end of the year, or maybe even next year. And then, yeah, I just finished this script that we have some money for. So we're shooting, we raised a bit of money. So we're shooting this script. I can't really say much about it, but it is very much in the world of Yeovil. It taps into the Yahoo boy culture, the culture of, internet scamming and that lifestyle. So yeah, I think like on a larger level, all this work is connected to this short film. It's all about this area and something that's alive here that I feel a lot of people ignore. And I think it's unique to South Africa and unique to Joburg. And yeah, I just wake up every day so excited about it, excited to make work about it, because I'm just feeling so lucky to live here and be accepted and part of something here. So that's what I'm working on.
Completely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That was such an insightful bunch of answers. And I'm really looking forward to everyone seeing and talking about your film.
Thanks, Hannah. I appreciate it. Thanks for everything. Yeah.
For sure. I just like to quickly thank the Encounters sponsors and partners who have helped make this festival happen. And thanks to everyone for watching. You can find out more information about the festival by following us on social media or checking out our website at www.encounters.co.za. And Encounters will see you virtually everywhere.